going on, Jerome's? Allegedly, the Super Bowl is today. And on today, Sunday, the day of rest or whatever, hopefully the Eagles rest. Because I understand people have Chiefs fatigue. I don't think the world is ready for the cataclysmic event of the Eagles winning another Super Bowl. That's it, man. But 10 truths about Super Bowl Sunday, as well as incorporating a little bit of hope about the Vikings moving forward. So here we go. Number one, this might be the lowest rated Super Bowl in recent memory, right? And now Super Bowl ratings keep going up and up and up, except I feel like people are just disinterested in this matchup. Now, it won't be a lot, right? It might just be flat, but I feel like a lot of people say that they're not going to watch the Super Bowl. They're going to watch the Super Bowl. But in terms of like casual interest, I don't know. But I guess with the whole storylines with Taylor Swift and, Mahomes being the GOAT and also all the commercials, I don't know. As I talk about it out loud, like maybe I'll walk this back a little bit. I don't know. Like it'll be fine, but I feel like you could see maybe not a dip, but just like a flat line of ratings, because I don't know, man. Like, even though the Vikings haven't been in a Super Bowl in my lifetime, which is so freaking depressing, isn't it? I mean, this is probably the least hype matchup that we could have gotten. I mean, because if it was the Bills, it would be can they go 0-5, or can they exorcise the demons? The commies with Jaden Daniels, Magic Johnson, Showtime, that would have been great. Any combination, commies, Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, at least there would have been something. But this one, there's nothing. There's just nothing appealing to this other than hate watching. Although hate watching ratings still count the same. Number two, all the nonsense masks how good Mahomes and Andy Reid are, right? So Andy Reid is one of the greatest coaches of all time. Frankly, I don't think that he gets his due. Maybe because he's not, like a hard ass, because he's just this large, happy-go-lucky guy who designs great offenses. But he's a great leader of men, and when it's all said and done, he should be regarded as one of the greatest coaches of all time. And also Patrick Mahomes, again, all the nonsense is all the refs, all of the it's rigged, all this back and forth. But it really does mask how great Patrick Mahomes is, and it really comes down to how he performs in the clutch, right? And the fact that he's gone to so many Super Bowls this early in his career, and if you need a drive, like, he's just going to get it. There is a Brady-esque element. There's a Joe Montana-esque element to his game. And I think that gets lost in the soup. And it's kind of akin to the Patriots thing, the whole Spygate, Deflategate thing, which, if those controversies happened with the Titans, I mean, it's a molehill, but they made a mountain of it because it's the Patriots, right? And I think you're seeing some of that with the Chiefs now too, which is kind of unfortunate because there is greatness there and it should be respected, but it isn't. Next, 3. Eagles fans are on the nut low, and the Eagles are a lot like the Packers. Well, actually, maybe not. I take that back. Where the Packers team, after Aaron Rodgers left, is actually pretty enjoyable. Like, I love Elton Jenkins. Zach Tom is phenomenal as well. Carl Brooks is my guy. I think that there's Edgerrin Cooper, absolute monster. The Pride Texas A&M. Like, there's a lot to like about the Packers team, but the fans ruin it. You know what I mean? And with the Eagles, it's the same thing outside of Sirianni. Sirianni can kick rocks. But with the Eagles, like, I like the Jalen Hurts story. I love me some Saquon Barkley. That front seven is pretty damn legit. Cooper DeJean is doing some great things because they don't ask him to have invalid fair catch signals. Quinion Mitchell is one of my draft crushes from last year. So, I mean, the Eagles team as a whole, I mean, A.J. Brown's a stud. I mean, the Eagles team as a whole, just the players, like, they're very likable, but fans, not so much. Because it's one thing to be boisterous and supportive of your team, but it's a little bit too much. You know what I mean? And I'm not even talking about the 2017 NFC title game. Oh, they're throwing full beers at us, blah, 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 blah. Just the constant grading and degrading of fandom. It's just, can't do it. And frankly, the Eagles fans and Nick Sirianni are the only reason I don't want their team to win. That's all. 4, the Vikings are closer than you think because there's no Mahomes, there's no Andy Reid, there's no Chiefs in the NFC, right? And you got to think, Joe Burrow has got to be sick to his stomach, right? Because that was his chance to win a Super Bowl a couple years ago against the Rams. But I would actually wager significant dollars that Joe Burrow doesn't get back to a Super Bowl ever again. Like, that was his Dan Marino 84 moment. And part of it is you have the level boss with Mahomes and Reid, and they're generally going to be really good. They're generally going to have home field in the playoffs. And like, if you're Lamar, if you're Josh Allen, if you're Joe Burrow, and you're stuck in the AFC, you're just like, is this ever going to work out? I don't know. Like, honestly, I wonder what odds you could get if you could wager that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow do not make another Super Bowl from now until whenever as a starting quarterback. I wonder what odds you get, because I think that's how good Mahomes and Reid are, right? But the Vikings in the NFC, like, who are you scared of in the NFC? The Lions are taking a significant step back. Jared Goff also is not that guy. With the Eagles, like, you really scared of the Eagles? You know, not particularly. Like, there's no juggernaut team that is going to be the level boss. And the Vikings, frankly, could be that team, right? And I understand, you know, people are laughing and chuckling. Oh, the Vikings haven't made a Super Bowl since 1977. Do not care. I feel like from the ground up, if they fix things in the trenches, which they have the resources and motivation to do, like, you're good to go at every other position. Like, the GM works hand in glove with the head coach. The head coach is a true leader of men. You do have JJ McCarthy, who's going to lead you to the promised land. You got all the weapons in the world. What more do you want? This is a young team that's properly constructed, and they're going to contend for a long time. A long, long time. 5, I won't know what to do. You know what I mean? It's like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands, right? So if and when the Vikings do make the Super Bowl, like, I don't know, winning an NFC title game and then like that 2-week break where you can just talk so much ish, I don't know how I'm going to handle myself, right? Because the last Super Bowl the Vikings made and lost, it was 12 years before I was born, 12, 13 years before I was born. So again, this is something I've not experienced. And, you know, Granddad and Pops were always talking about, the Vikings lost the Super Bowl. It's like, cool. I can only see NFC title games. Awesome. Great. Phenomenal. Yeah. But hopefully, you know, also we as a fan base, I mean, there's a lot of generational turnover, of course. So anyone, what would that be? Anyone at or under the age of 50 hasn't even seen the Vikings lose the Super Bowl. That's messed up, isn't it? Kind of. Next, 6. This is a chance to be a defining offseason. So last season was great. The Vikings brought in the greatest free agent class in NFL history. And now you have J.J. McCarthy and Diamond Dallas Turner, who are essentially rookies from last year onto this year's group. And also, you have the motivation, you have the cap space, you know exactly what you need to do. There's key free agents in the trenches. This is a great defensive tackle and running back class. This is a chance to be the check mark in terms of fixing what's wrong with this team and making sure that they are a legitimate contender year in, year out. So, Kwesi, spend all of the cash. Hammer things down at guard. Think about replacing center, and also take multiple swings at D tackle as well as running back in this class. Go get it. Number 7, J.J. McCarthy will win rings. And I know people are saying, like, well, he's never played it down in the NFL. Doesn't matter. He's got that killer mentality. He's got all the talent. He's going to be on the offense that's going to be top 5 in this league. He's got one of the best quarterback coaches in Kevin O'Connell. And I honestly think that all of that will add up to a contagious winning mentality, and the Vikings will go for the throat. Right? And, you know, screw all this winning by a single score. How about going out and putting your foot on the opponent's throat and going through and expecting to win big-time games? That's what J.J. McCarthy brings. It's just a mentality shift, and he's just an absolute alpha. He's a killer. Love everything about him. Number 8, Kevin O'Connell will take this team to Super Bowls. That's where all the talk is like, oh yeah, 13, 14 wins, coach of the year. It's really nice, but does he have what it takes? I think J.J. McCarthy is the missing piece. I think O'Connell and McCarthy together, 12, 15, 18 years, I think that they have a chance to be very good for a long time. All right, and as long as that connection is good, head coach, offensive play caller, and quarterback, everything else will just take care of itself. Right. 9, Kwesi's regenerative approach. So this is not a team that you build up with veterans, then tear down, then build up and tear down. Like, yes, the Vikings were generally a little bit older last year, but at their core, they're under 30 and signed up for multiple years. You got J.J. McCarthy, you got Justin Jefferson, you got Darisaw, you got Addison, you got Hawkinson, you got Diamond Dallas Turner, you got Grenard, you got AVG who turns 30 this year. But at its core, this team is young, and they have a chance to be very good for a long time. And when Kwesi took over for Spielman in 2022, the Vikings cycled through a lot of the older veterans on this roster and a couple of bad contracts as well. But now this team is lean and mean. They got the cap space, and I feel like Kwesi is not afraid about moving on from a player maybe a year too early because it's better than a year too late. And I think that approach will continue to cycle through with this team. They'll continue to stay young. They'll continue to stay at the peak of their performance, and the cap will be in good shape with Kwesi and Rob Brzezinski. Right. So all of this, and especially after you found your future franchise quarterback, will work, and it's replicable year after year. Lastly, number 10, NOLA is the perfect Super Bowl city. Now, the stupid ass team and their fans, maybe not so much, but New Orleans is great in terms of having everything centrally located. The music, the booze, the food, the vibe of the city, it's great. Everything is centrally located. I honestly think that there should be, all right, so there should be 4 cities that are permanently established as Super Bowl cities: New Orleans, Las Vegas, Miami, and LA, right? Because all 4 of them are tourist cities, so they're accustomed to the influx of people. There's tons of hotel rooms. There's always things to do. A lot of things are centrally located. LA is a little bit spread out. Miami's a little bit spread out. But New Orleans and Vegas, everything's pretty much right there. And cities like Houston is great. Dallas, okay. Phoenix, like they all have their bona fides. Atlanta, but it just does seem like everything's a little bit more spread out, right? Vibe, not quite the same. Jacksonville was a disaster. Yeah, never do that again. Minneapolis and Indianapolis. Here's what sucks. Minneapolis and Indianapolis are really good, and they're basically set up like New Orleans, where the stadium is downtown, lots of things centrally located, tons of hotels. The weather just sucks. All right, and it really stinks because I think Indianapolis is a really, really good Super Bowl city. But other places they're going to, like San Francisco next year, or Santa Clara, no. But New Orleans is the perfect Super Bowl city. And frankly, if they went from New Orleans to Miami to Vegas, and LA toss in there a little bit as well, just have a rotation of those 4, and then intermittently put in a 5th. Well, they'll have Atlanta in there too. Whatever. But intermittently intersplice like a one-off, because you reward a city that just built a new stadium. Like if Chicago gets their indoor stadium done, or Tennessee gets their new stadium, then you got to throw them a bone and give them a Super Bowl. Yeah, but other than that, New Orleans is where it's at. Even though the Vikings lost 2 of their 4 Super Bowls in New Orleans. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. 10 truths on this Super Bowl Sunday. You guys are the best to do. Skull production value.